Paltrocast now with Darren Paltrowitz. Get ready to listen to your favorite artists.
Paltrocast. Keith, aside from doing press where you answer the same questions over and over and over and over again, how's your day going so far?
It's good. Let me get that pipe out of my shot here. Hold on.
No, it adds character. You have a working space that's clearly lived in.
That's right. That's right.
Right. So where are you calling home these days? I ask that because I know you have the West Virginia roots, but you've seen the world just a few times. And so usually after you make it in hard rock, you move to either Nashville or Vegas.
Yeah, I'm in East Tennessee. It's a nice quiet little town. A little bit outside of Knoxville, and
Murfreesboro.
No, the other way.
The other way.
The only time I ever come into Nashville is for just music stuff, and a lot of people move there and live there. A lot of my friends, a few bandmates from different bands, and but no, I'm kind of away. I'm out of all that, but close enough so that I can drive in and do what I need to do.
Makes sense. Well, I have a lot of compliments for you. Are you ready for them, or are you maxed out already in this press?
I don't know, man. I'll try to just maybe we should save this for whenever I'm like super depressed.
Which never happens. I mean, it's always happy music from Keith. It's the happiest music ever, and we know that. That's what we expect. The sunshine comes out just like on Infinity Now. But anyway, this is now your third solo album beyond some singles that you've done while touring and recording with Breaking Benjamin, while having cuts on a lot of people's records over the past decade or so. So are you literally writing music every day?
I wouldn't say every day. I definitely try to, get up. I mean, if I'm home, I try not to burn myself out. There's some times in between tours where I just don't even touch a guitar. And I find that when I eventually do come back to the guitar and sit down to write, I feel like I'm more recharged and more refreshed and both just motivationally, but also creatively. So I kind of wait for that to kind of happen. If I've been on tour for 2 months or something, last thing I want to do is get home and pick up a guitar and start hacking away. I kind of let myself recharge a little bit.
So at this point in time, sometimes it's for a Keith solo record, sometimes it goes to Breaking Benjamin, sometimes it's somebody else's record. Do you know that when you write a song where it's going to go?
Most of the time, yeah. Most of the time, I kind of I have the intent and kind of intention to kind of write for a specific thing, whether it be like you said, Breaking Band or my own stuff or whatever else. There's been occasionally though that sometimes the things that I think hasn't quite been right for one, and maybe I'll revisit it for something else and make some tweaks or whatever. But no, I usually know what I'm kind of writing for ahead of time.
It's cool to see that your day job, your band, is supporting your solo career and letting you open up shows. Was that a tricky conversation to have?
Actually, no. They that kind of I don't even know. It was something where I asked them if I could do it. It was more they asked me to do it, which was pretty funny. But yeah, the support that I've gotten from my other band has been just incredible. I can't thank them enough. You'd think you always hear stories about bands not wanting any other members to kind of dilute the product or whatever. But my music is a completely separate thing. I don't think that it affects any way, shape, or form the monster that is Breaking Benjamin, so, and I think they recognize that. And even further than that, I feel like they all understand that, look, if I have success, it does nothing but just help, bring more light and success to Breaking Benjamin. So it's cool that they understand that. And, I understand that as well. And, so it's like what's that saying, like the rising tide, it lifts all boats or whatever, something like that.
Is that why you're on Rise Records, because of the rising tides? Oh,
That's a good one. Hey, yeah.
But the, perspective on the whole thing, one of my favorite bands, Van Halen, basically David Lee Roth was kicked out because he wanted to do a solo thing. It does happen in some bands where they go, you're either with us or against us. Metallica for many years had that you can't be on anyone else's album if it's not Corrosion of Conformity. They have that seeming rule going on. So it sounds like you work with wonderful people who, even if the music isn't the happiest music on the planet, everyone behind the scenes is pleased as punch to be making music for a living.
Absolutely. I think we all realize that, we're just grateful to be making music as a career. And, I tell everybody this, and I say it at shows as well, because, even, yourself, a lot of people, you're not the only person that asks me, why do solo music in the first place? Well, number one, it's a chance for me to kind of use my voice and what I want to say and what I want to write about, and some, stuff that I feel passionately about that is separate from the band. It's my own kind of thing. But not only that is I want to just be able to, I want to make music as much as I can while I'm alive on this earth. And
sure.
there's downtime with Breaking Benjamin, and I want to use that time to create and get out there and play. And it's cool. I was talking in another interview the other day, and I kind of get the best of both worlds with it, right? So it's like I go out with Breaking Ben. It's like in the bus. It's like these big tours, 18-wheeler trucks full of gear, like production, all this stuff, and then I get to come and do the solo stuff, and it's like a little bit different. It's like I'm in a van. The clubs are smaller. But I love it just the same. I really do. And, so I kind of do that back and forth. Maybe one day the solo stuff will get up to that level where there's some more production and some a little bit bigger shows. But for the time being, I'm just enjoying the ride in both avenues.
I wouldn't say that the clubs are smaller. I would say they're more intimate and for select audiences.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, exactly. we do see this on a lot of different levels. Like take Tommy Clufetos. Is that how you say his name? Tommy Clufetos, who was filling in on the Motley Crue tour when Tommy Lee couldn't do stuff, and Rob Zombie, etc.
Yeah.
What is he doing when he's not on the road with these major artists? He's playing clubs because he's out there for the love of it. When Oates was not out with Hall & Oates, he's playing clubs and theaters because that's what he wants to do. When somebody sees you live and it's not opening up for Breaking Benjamin, what does the set list look like? Do you have that medley of songs that you've done for the other artists?
What do you mean medley?
So when you go see Barry Manilow, because I know you talk about Manilow all the time. I know Manilow.
That's a usual. That's a usual hot point for me.
Well, when you see Manilow, he does the jingles that he wrote and the hits that he wrote for everybody else. 30 seconds of American Bandstand theme and 30 seconds of Like a Good Neighbor, State Farm is Here. He does all that to go, see, I did all this. And I think at this point in time, you could do one of those.
I don't know. I'm still waiting for Maxwell House to call me to write a jingle. But in the meantime, I just stick to, my original material. And, I think at this point, not a lot of people have heard it. It doesn't have a whole lot of exposure right now. I'm hoping to change that with both being on a just amazing label like Rise and plus just getting out there in front of people to play some of these songs live. But that's really what I'm focused on, man. Just exposure, getting my music out there, whether it be playing live, social media, the TikTok, all the stuff. That's the name of the game. I don't have any catchy jingle medleys or anything like that. So I still run across people that, they don't even know that I'm making solo music, and that's kind of a disheartening kind of thing to hear, and then there's other people I'll see comments that are just like, how do you just have this many plays? This is so amazing. And, so it's just, that tells me that it's an exposure thing. People are liking the music, but it just got to get out there. So that's my main focus with this album, is just to get it out there and exploit it as much as I can. And honestly, I can't thank you enough for having me and help me get the name out there.
No, I've had the pleasure of seeing you, at Jones Beach in New York a few times with the big band, and then
Awesome.
interviewing Wes Cage a couple of weeks ago. So your music is out there. I think eventually when people connect all the dots, they go, okay, that's kind of like the Butch Walker of active rock.
Oh wow, that's an incredible comparison.
Well, it's a suitable one, right? Because sometimes you are the side man, sometimes you're the person in the featured big band, sometimes collaborator, and sometimes it's a solo artist. So meaning you could play an amphitheater on Monday, a theater on Tuesday, and a club on Wednesday.
That sounds like a pretty good week, actually. Yeah, throw a little guacamole and some pizza in there, and that's the ideal week right there.
Sure. So back to Rise Records. Did you know that this album was going to come out on Rise, or did you finish it and then shop it around?
I did know ahead of time. I think I signed with them probably, I'd say, at the end of 2022. Yeah, I had worked with their kind of other side of the company with BMG on the publishing side, on the songwriting side. Yeah, I was just thrilled to death whenever there was an opportunity to be involved on the recording side of things. So it's been great. It's been a great partnership. I've had so much fun meeting some of the staff and just working together on this release and rollout. It's been an incredible, exciting time for me. This is the first time that I've been signed. I've worked for all these bands over the years, and I've never really kind of had that like real kind of like, oh man, I'm signing a record deal. So it's crazy that it's happening, and it's just cool. I'm so grateful.
And I would have to imagine, being a BMG subsidiary, it's the kind of case where you have the major label-esque push, but you can turn in an album without somebody going, "Where's the single?"
No, I think there's still a little bit of that, I think, that's the goal. I mean, the goal is to really try to have, some hits and some to get some stuff and get some traction out there. That's always the goal. No bones about it. But I think there is a familiarity there where I've kind of worked with some of the people before. I think to me, it just makes things more comfortable. It's not just such a foreign thing. You don't walk into a boardroom and there's 10 people in suits being like, all right, what do you got? It's just much more laid back. And, but at the same time, still very much important to get some good stuff out there and hopefully it sticks. So.
Well, down to the last few questions here. Softballs, because I've made you talk about a lot of Manilow in this conversation here. So,
all right.
Some artists, when they finish an album, they're already thinking about the next one. Because you mentioned, hey, 2022, you had signed with Rise.
Yeah.
In this case, are you already thinking about the next EP or album, or are you good for a while because you've been so prolific these past few years?
I would say absolutely. I'm already kind of starting to feel antsy about it. I think that really the next time, and the album's not even out yet. By the way, album comes out May 3rd.
Right.
But
it's old to you. It's new to us.
That's so true. It really is. And I wouldn't even necessarily say it's old to me, but I've had these songs, on a computer and listening to them for a while, and it's I don't know. I'm starting to feel antsy and thinking about, all right, what's next? I need to get some songs kind of going. So probably the next time I have a little break, I'll sit down and kind of focus on that and try to get a couple ideas in the can.
Got it. Final two questions. Number one, you're always writing music, and I have to keep reiterating that because a lot of artists come out 12 songs every 2 years, and that's it. Not your case at all. What is the hobby away from music? Do you have any dumb hobbies? Are you, for example, a golf person?
I love golf. I just never get to play, but I absolutely love it. It's always a good time to get out there in the sunshine and woodland creatures beware, because there's golf balls a coming. But no, I love it. I love just grilling out with some friends. I go to the beach every year with my family in Charleston, South Carolina. Always a good time. I love the beach. Love the ocean. I love to eat seafood, grilling out, all that kind of stuff, camping. I try to get out there and hang with good friends and family. So try to make time for that for sure.
Nice. And then the last question, when you're on the road for a day job, you probably relish the time that you get to spend at home doing nothing, so to speak. But what's the last concert that you went to as a fan, not because you had to be there?
Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, I think whenever I come home, for about a week, I just lay on the couch and just recover. But then I start getting antsy. I just start thinking about work and what I need to do. But concerts, I don't go to many concerts, to be honest. I think my whole life is one big concert. So when I'm home, I'm really not looking to get out there into a show too often. But I just got through with this cruise called Shiprocked, where I was a performer, and there's so many great bands on this cruise. And you can play your shows and kind of keep to yourself and kind of just stay in your room if you want, or you can just really set your watch and your schedule, and you can find the other bands and their other performances on the boat. And one of the bands that I was really excited to see was Dayseeker. I've been a big fan of them since their album came out. Met the singer, Rory, all the other guys in the band. They were super nice. Their producer, Dan Bronstein, I wrote a song with him for my album, Infinity Now. And we kind of talked about, working with him, just an amazing producer. Also produced Spirit Box, another Rise band, and just killing it. And but I've been a fan of them, and I got a chance to see them live and kind of talk with Rory, and it was just so cool, man. It's just super cool dudes, incredible band, incredible vocalist, and it was really neat to kind of be on that ship with them and be able to watch them just kind of, I don't know, I really got to experience their show, and like I said, big fan, and it was awesome. So yeah, that was probably the last time where, and it just happened to be this past week. So as a opportune question for you to ask. You caught me.
It sounds like the Shiprocked cruise situation networks you. You get the grilled meats, you get the beach because you stop into the port. It sounds like more cruises have to happen for you in the near future, because it's also the family's covered for the vacation too.
Exactly. You're kind of hitting all the birds with that stone, for sure.
Exactly.
It's so fun, man. If you've never done it, I recommend it. If you get a chance, and Shiprocked especially, it's a good one. It's just an amazing community and a real family on that boat, and all those guys that put that together. I mean, they've got such a hard job to schedule all the bands and all the things and the excursions and everything else. And man, they just really do a great job year after year. So can't recommend it enough.
Well, speaking of great jobs, congrats to you on this new record. Hope to see you on a Shed tour very soon.
Thank you.
Back at Jones Beach, and thank you for the many years of great music, Keith.
Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to come back to Jones Beach. That's one of my favorite venues. If you can dodge the seagull droppings, it's a great place. So I've been lucky for the last 4 or 5 times, but yes, man, once again, thank you so much for having me, and looking forward to the next time, and hope to see you out there.
Paltrocast.
I'm going to say good morning, right? What time of day is it there by you? Morning?
Yeah, it's morning. It's 10 o'clock on a Wednesday morning.
Not too bad. And it is not snowing there like it is here in New York, right?
Oh, it's snowing?
Yeah. It's snowing, and hopefully for your US tour, it's not snowing, right?
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, can you play reggae in the snow?
I reckon you could get away with it. I think it would put you'd have to have a few fireplaces going or some kind of yeah, but I reckon it would create a vibe for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Maybe
it
that's a
doesn't
chance,
make sense, unfortunately, for certain musical genres for certain times of the year.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe I need to try and write a song that's a reggae feel in winter. That's a challenge accepted. Yeah.
Well, in your case, kudos to you, because 7 albums in 8 years. Do I have that correct?
Yeah, pretty close, man. This is our sixth album, and it's been 2 years in the making. This one, but we've been releasing music since 2017, and basically been releasing an album a year right up until early last year, and then we decided to spend a bit more time on this album and kind of give ourselves a bit of a break in regards to the studio work. And we've been obviously doing a bit more touring post-COVID that now that we can get out of the country and stuff. So that was the focus over the last kind of year or two.
I was giving you that extra seventh album because there was a compilation, a best of thing. And when you're a band, I mean, you still need to approve the artwork. You need to get the UPC or the barcode. You still have to promote it, do all the paperwork, etc. So even though a Greatest Hits album sounds like it's all the work was done, it's still an album you got to promote.
For sure. Yeah. So, this next one that comes out in a couple of weeks, actually, at the end of next week, we're super pumped on, and yeah, we're looking forward to coming to the States. And I just want to point out your Iron Maiden T-shirt. Are you a Maiden fan?
Someone's got to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I got the Trooper tattooed on the back of my leg, so I'm with you, brother.
Well, actually, I was curious about that with your musical evolution. So I was into ska before I was into reggae.
Gotcha.
But I was into metal before I was into ska. So what was your musical evolution in terms of genres?
Yeah, we definitely grew up. I mean, I grew up listening to a lot of different stuff, but in regards to like ska and that, we listened to a lot of Sublime and stuff like that. And the boys in the band, we're all deep down, we all love a bit of rock, and especially the boys, the Cora brothers, right into their metal. That's definitely where the metal influence comes from. And I'm a guitarist, first and foremost, as well as a singer. Adrian Smith's got to be one of my favorite guitarists at Iron Maiden. Such a tasty feel, and he comes from the blues sound like most great rock players do, and you can really hear that in his playing, and that's kind of why the Maiden thing's definitely an influence on the band. And we've actually recorded a few over the 6 albums. We've recorded probably 3 or 4 rock songs in those albums. We've experimented with heavy guitar tones,
Yeah. Now, if I can ask a nerdy question here, your guitar playing has a lot of upstrokes, but starting off as being a punk and metal person before, you listen to the Ramones and they only do downstrokes. So for you, was it a big transition to becoming an upstroke guy with the guitar?
An upstroke guy, yeah. I mean, I suppose when we're playing reggae, it's all downstrokes for me, but when you're playing ska, yeah, it's usually the opposite. It's upstroke, chick, 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 chick.
Exactly.
But, yeah, the reggae thing for me was definitely a little later in life. I was probably 15 years old, 14, 15 years old when I started playing more reggae music. Listening to bands that are from New Zealand, bands like Catch a Fire, Cora, Fat Freddy's Drop. These are bands that you may or may not have heard of, but they are all still exist today and are doing really well in regards to the international scene with reggae dub music, slightly electronic, and all that sound has come from countries. So, influenced and then kind of created in this country, and it's great to see bands like Catch a Fire doing well in places like Hawaii and the west coast of the States. And that's kind of our goal is to follow in the footsteps of bands like that have paved the way overseas in regards to Kiwi artists,
Right. If I can ask an ignorant American question here, I have reformed myself as an ignorant American. And when you grow up in the States, you tend to think that whatever music is big in the U.S. is big everywhere else. And then as you get older, you realize they don't really know Tom Petty in most of the world. Billy Joel is not the biggest classic rock artist, etc. And our perspective for what the biggest reggae artist doesn't represent the reggae that's actually in Jamaica or Caribbean or when they do Asian reggae festivals and all that. So what was the first country outside of New Zealand that really embraced your band?
The first country I would probably say just naturally Australia because of the amount of Kiwis that live in Australia. But outside of Aussie, which is we call it the expat kind of market, you know, all the Kiwis that live in Aussie, they love the Kiwi bands that come over and play. But outside of that, I'll probably say the Netherlands of all places. Amsterdam. We played there for the first time last year, and it was an incredible show. We played at a place called the Paradiso, and it's, you know, historic in regards to the people that have played there. And you could feel it in the walls, man. It was just one of those magic places that you could tell there'd been a lot of good music played in that room. And we were blessed to be able to play there and pack the place out. And predominantly the audience was from Europe, you know, all over. People had come from Germany and Switzerland and all sorts of places to come and see us play. So it was super special.
So is it a case where the festivals for the band are all over the place? You never know where the calls are going to come from. I ask that because sometimes bands just tour the US, Canada, England, and that's it. They don't expect calls from anywhere else. But reggae is more of a universal sound. Sure, yeah. We've definitely been hit up to play all sorts of places, places like the Philippines, Bali, in the States. We're playing Cali Roots Festival again in May, which we played for the first time last year. But yeah, you're right. You could definitely get into different corners of the world through reggae music, or through roots music, I suppose, is what I would call L.A.B. It's not purely reggae, but they're definitely in the roots music kind of scene. Cool. Well, a question about a song from your latest album. Take It Away has a very fun music video, and everyone is getting along and dancing and socializing, but a lot of the people in the music video are not in the band. Am I ignorant in that I don't recognize celebrities from your home country, or is it mostly friends that we see in the band, in the music video? Yeah, it's more of a cast, I suppose, of people that we put the word out that we're doing a shoot, and then people sign up and come along and get to meet the band and be a part of a music video. So that was the idea behind that one. So those weren't all talk show hosts that I didn't know. No. No, you're safe, bro. You're safe. Whew, okay, that's a relief right there. So the streak of putting out an album almost every year, are you going to start slowing down, or is that part of the MO for the band and just keep expecting albums all the time? I think we're definitely changing it up now. We've done, 5 and 5 years, and the 6th one, like I said, has taken a couple of years. And the plan moving forward is to kind of stay on that mold in regards to releasing music probably every couple of years, with the exception of a few singles here and there. And but the focus now is really getting the band overseas and working on that international kind of market, and seeing what works, and trying to build that brand overseas. And it's definitely working. We're second year, I suppose, into these new goals of where we are and where we want to be. So we're just pushing for that. And yeah, we're definitely going to be back in the studio before the end of this year, working on the next project. Yeah, it's one of those things. If we're not on the road, we're in the studio. If we're not in the studio, we're on the road. So it's just a balancing act. Paltrow.